everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and here is my captain's log for May 16th, 2014, Flash trailer. 5-minute extended Flash trailer. We now have seen what Barry Allen looks like in the suit, zooming around Central City, and I gotta tell you, this thing looks just phenomenal. I am stoked. And I was already very excited for this show. Of course, as everybody knows, I love Arrow, and I've been really happy with that show, and despite some issues with the way the thing has ultimately coalesced at the end of the second season, I still really love that show, and it's so much fun to watch. And that's the big thing I took from this, is that Flash looks like it's going to be so much fun to watch. The sense I got from it is it's going to be tonally very different from Arrow. That's kind of what you would want. You would want a lighter, more fun show. But at the same time, it feels like it's going to also tonally fit with that show. It's the same kind of production values. It looks like the same universe. It looks like they are really expounding upon that Arrow universe in a really big and really exciting kind of way. Tons and tons of stuff in that trailer. Where do I begin? They kind of gave us a bit of a mini pilot in that extended trailer, and I'll tell folks, if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want too much spoiled, I would avoid it and maybe watch and just, I mean, this sounds like a horrible thing to say, and just take my word for it, it looks fantastic. If you like Arrow, you're probably going to like the show. But if you're worried about spoilers and you don't want to know too much right out the gate, you don't want to see too many things and too many scenes, I would say watch, and I'll put both of these things in the description, I would say watch the little teaser of Arrow and Flash. There's this really fun teaser where Oliver Queen is shooting arrows and Flash is trying to outrun them. And I think that is a great teaser and also a really cool way to sell the show. And I kind of like that they put both of those things out, so you can get a glimpse of the suit, you can get kind of a sense of the flavor, the tone of the show, but you don't have to know everything. And then if you want those spoilers, if you want more of a sense of the whole thing, and you want those details, you can watch this longer trailer. I don't know how often that 5-minute trailer is airing. I mean, is being, put on television. I would assume they probably put it up the one time and then now it's on the internet. So it's very avoidable if you don't want to know that stuff. But anyway, if you're here, you've probably seen it, so let's discuss a little bit. So I'm a little bit surprised about the notion of the particle accelerator accident causes metahumans to pop up all over the place. That's what it seems like they're doing. So at the time that Barry Allen got hit by lightning, a whole bunch of other metahumans popped up, and there weren't any in the world before. I really like that idea because it makes a lot of sense that, Arrow is going along, and more or less it seems like kind of a regular sort of world. It's a bit of a heightened reality, but you don't have all that sci-fi stuff. You've got the Mirakuru, but beyond that, there's not so much stuff. So there's some mad science stuff, but that's about it. And then when this happens, this huge scientific experiment gone awry, then it opens up the vortexes and stuff to other places and makes all these and opens up all these theoretical energies that turn out to not be theoretical and turn a bunch of people into metahumans, including Weather Wizard, which the effects look great for that. And so I really like that idea. It makes a lot of sense. It kind of helps. It kind of helps. I think Starling City not feel like it's in a bubble where it's like there's all these things going on outside Starling City with superpowers and stuff, and we didn't even know about it, or we're ignoring it, not paying attention to it. So Arrow ends up being a nice kind of springboard into this world to sort of ease us into those ideas, especially if you're into the kind of street level drama stuff where you like vigilante stories, but you're not sure about the big sci-fi elements, you don't know about all the real comic booky stuff, and you really like, say, the Nolan Batman films, which that show borrows a lot from, and so I think for those kind of folks, it really eases them into it. Obviously, somebody like me, I could just jump straight into a Flash show and be like, yeah, Weather Wizard. But not everybody would have that. So I think that has been a really smart strategy. I don't know if it was on purpose necessarily, but it's a happy accident If so, and I think that has been a big part of their success with Arrow, and hopefully going into the Flash. But what's a little bit strange about it to me is I got the sense watching Arrow that the whole point of the particle accelerator was, this is the new way we're going to get Flash's powers. It's a particle accelerator. It makes his particles accelerated. It makes him move a lot faster. So if the particle accelerator experiment opens up all these vortexes and gives all these different people different sorts of superpowers, it strikes me as incredibly convenient that I almost said Oliver Queen. It strikes me incredibly convenient that Barry Allen gets Flash powers, because it seems like that's very related to the particle accelerator. What are the odds? And really, what are the odds that he gets struck by lightning because of the very thing that he was late to go see anyway? And, you know, it seems a little bit like a kind of fate thing, and you've got the whole thing with Oliver Queen in the trailer even saying that bolt of lightning chose you, and that kind of thing. And I'm sure that they're not going to go there literally, but if they do and they find a way for it to make sense, that would be interesting. So anyway, but I wondered about that, but at the same time, I am really glad that all of these metahumans are going to pop up all at the same time somehow, and it's not just they've been around forever and then now all of a sudden they all show up and horrible things happen. So, you know, that makes a lot of sense. I really like that he's going to, it looks like, fight a major Flash villain right out the gate. I'm glad that they're not doing minor, you know, third, fourth string stuff right away, that they're not just making up characters. And this is the Arrow people. You wouldn't expect that. They love their comic book stuff, and they're really reverential about this stuff, and they eat it up, and they really know their stuff. So I would have expected this, but at the same time, it's fun to get to see it. I like that we get to see and I don't mean just for the trailer, but that, you know, in the TV show, that we're gonna get to see the flashback of Barry Allen's mother getting killed. And I really enjoyed in the trailer the way that they played that, where they give you his explanation about that to, I think he was talking to Felicity, but it was in the second episode of Arrow that he was in, and he's explaining all that. I think they also, but anyway, that you get to see it, that you get to see Professor Zoom moving really fast, and you barely see him, but there he is, and I really like that we got to see that. Just to confirm, I mean, those of us that know the Jeff Johns Flash stuff, we know what's going on there, but I thought it was pretty cool to get to see it. And it's like, okay, there's the yellow streak, and we really are giving fans something there, and we're telling you that this is the Flash. By the way, that's another thing I really like, that we didn't have to make up some kind of clever, like, backdoor title where we're kind of we're doing it, but we're not doing it, but we are doing it, and that's what Arrow has had, and that's kind of irritating. It's sort of the same thing, like, you know, Smallville it kind of started this whole thing where it's like, you know, we're doing Superman, but we're not doing Superman. And, I mean, with that it made sense, because at least he wasn't Superman throughout the thing, even though, you know, very shortly in, he really probably should have been, but whatever. But then, you know, you had that Aquaman show, and they were gonna, like I think at one point that show was called Mercy Reef, and then finally they just changed it to Aquaman, but then it went to pilot and didn't go to series. With this, I'm really glad that they didn't even try to go there. And like with the Wonder Woman show that they almost did, they were gonna call it Amazon. I'm really glad that this is just the Flash, and I get the feeling that they just couldn't think of anything else to call it. You know, Central City, fast, zoom, quick, what would we call it? And so I'm glad that they're just straight up embracing that. And I also really enjoy the idea of Oliver Queen naming him. I think that's cool. It is that kind of, he just came up with it on the spot and isn't actually naming him, just says the word, and then Barry Allen's like, oh, that sounds like a really good name for me. I should totally use that. That kind of silly comic book TV show movie thing, but whatever. It's fun. I like it. Anyway, I think the suit looks great. Some people were complaining about the suit. I think the suit looks just fine. I'm not going to go into details with it. I think it looks great. I think it looks better in the show than it does just looking at it. And more importantly, I'm just glad that we've got a full-blown costume. I'm just glad that we've got a full-blown costume, and I mean, we had that with Arrow also, but like for Flash, I'm glad we have a full-blown costume that he's zooming around a lot during the day, that it's not just he moves really fast and hopes that nobody sees him. It looks like he actually stops and people see him and stuff. I think that's what they're doing. And I think it looks great. We're gonna get a full-blown, straight-up superhero show. Like, I mean, obviously we are doing an origin thing, but we've already kind of seen, you know, the beginnings of that in Arrow. I'm just saying I like that with the Flash, it's not this kind of Arrow thing of he's not a hero, he's a vigilante, and then he's trying to become a hero, and you know, where we stretch out an origin over like a couple of seasons. With Arrow, I think that's worked really well, but we've seen that now, and it's the same universe. So with Flash, I really like that we're just jumping straight out the gate. He's a superhero. I like that we're dealing with those ideas of why he's a hero, and that it's not just because he can move fast. That line that his mother has is maybe, you know, obvious and on the nose, but again, it's comic book stuff. I think it's cool in this context where she says that it takes, you know, a good heart is more important than fast legs, and that's kind of setting up all of this. And then of course, if she has any idea about, I just thought of this, if she ends up having any idea at all whatsoever about what killed her, I mean, I don't know that she does. Who knows if they're doing things exactly the same way as in the comics, but that could be foreshadowing on purpose. You know, what if she actually knew what was going to happen with Barry Allen, and then maybe that wasn't just a throwaway line, maybe that wasn't like a really convenient thing, that it just happens to be a line that has to do with the superpowers. Maybe she knows what they are. I don't know. Anyway, I'm spitballing now. We'll talk about all that stuff when we do Flash discussions in the fall. Anyway, we are experiencing a television superhero renaissance right now. Everybody keeps calling it that. I tend to agree. I think that's precisely the right thing to call it. And I gotta say, folks, I have been complaining a lot and been really trepidatious about what Warner's and DC have been doing with their movies and the really kind of wait-and-see attitude that they've had. And I don't even want to complain about that anymore, because we've got great DC stuff on TV. We got Arrow, we got Flash, and maybe Gotham will be great. And I mean, like, if I'm going to get week-to-week really great DC stuff, as much as I would love to have a Superman and Batman on screen that are the way I would want them done, or at least, and also to be sure that all of the superheroes that really ought to get movies are finally going to get movies, and we seem to still be strung along on that and stuff. Yeah, fine, and that totally sucks, but getting some great stuff on TV right now, and we are spoiled right now, folks. When I was a kid, I would have killed for this stuff, and I just showed Jason, my 4-year-old, the Flash trailer, and he lit up like a Christmas tree. He loves Flash. He's got a Flash picture in his bedroom. He's got the Imagine X Batman toys. He's got the Flash toy. He plays with it all the time. He loves Flash, and when I told him there was a Flash show, he got really excited. And when he saw the trailer and saw that it was a spinoff of Arrow, because I told him that, but I don't think he really understood what that meant, and he saw Oliver Queen in the trailer, because he and I watch Arrow together, he just lost it. It was a big deal to him. And I'm watching Jason, and I'm like, this is what I would have been like when I was a kid, you know? I'm seeing, it was such a big deal to me in high school when we finally got what I like to call the superhero onslaught in movies, when we got X-Men, and when we got Spider-Man, and then all that stuff started happening and snowballing. We started getting all of this stuff, and it's much more of an onslaught now. I need to come up with like a lesser word, because onslaught is a better word for what we're getting now. And it was a big deal. You know, when I was a kid, we had Batman, and we had a couple of kind of lame knockoffs and things, and that was about it until 1999, until Blade and then X-Men. And I would have killed for this, to get all of this stuff, and there's so much of it that if a couple things aren't that great, it's really not a big deal. We've got so much good stuff now. We're going to have 6 comic book-inspired, superhero-inspired shows of the big 2 of mainstream stuff in the fall this year, and it's such a big deal. I could not be more ecstatic about it. So anyway, I'm sure there's all kinds of other things I could have talked about, but I'm going to leave it off here. I've been talking a while. So anyway, leave comments. I want to know what other people think about the Flash trailer, and if you're going to watch the show. The Flash trailer, and I don't know if this tells us anything. I don't really usually look at this, but it caught my eye, hit over 1 million views very quickly, like in 24 hours. And I hope that that is a good omen for the show. I would like to think that this thing is not only going to make a first season, but that it'll keep going. I'm really hoping for kind of a Xena Hercules, Angel Buffy, DS9 Voyager thing, where we get 2 shows set in the same universe that get to go simultaneously for a good long time. And I think that production values are great. The acting looks really consistent with Arrow. I think this thing has a really good shot at having legs. Yeah, I went there. Oh, and by the way, run, Barry, run. Really? We're gonna have somebody say that? Or are we not inviting, like, being made fun of all over the place when we say that? Maybe that was the point. Maybe that's obligatory. Maybe if you have a character that runs fast, you have to reference Forrest Gump. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Sure appreciate it. Leave me comments. I'm looking forward to reading them. And if there's anything later on that you think I ought to talk about in a Captain's Log, leave that in the comments as well. I'm Captain Logan, and this has been today's Captain's Log.